Dude, how do I make money online? Well, I took a new agency to $15.6 thousand per month in 26 days. How is that even possible? Well, I started by asking people what problem they had, and then I built a real solution to do it. Wait a minute, you talk to real people? I thought we had to do 87 high-level follow-ups before we talk to people. Yeah, it's kind of crazy what you can accomplish when you listen to your market first. What's up, guys? It's Frankie, and in this video I'm going to show you, for those of you guys who are starting a brand new agency or you're restarting for different reasons in a different niche, I want to show you how you can take a new agency. For us, what that meant is $15.6 thousand in 26 days. And you can keep adding to this and doing this every month if you want. And so even if you're already, humming along, you can keep adding to this. And I'm also want to show you guys a systematic process so you can repeat the step, but also what steps not to do so that you don't fall into a lot of the typical traps that keep people stuck at the old $0. And that really sucks when that happens, because often you have some father-in-law or a mother saying, why don't you get a job? Why don't you get a job? And that really, really sucks. And so I want you guys not to be in that scenario. I want you guys to be able to make money online and do this a whole bunch faster than what most people do. For those of you guys who don't know me already, my name is Frankie Finn. I wrote these two best-selling books right here, Beyond the Agency Box, which you can find a link for below this video. I've also built 3 of my own agencies up to 100 plus clients, and I've helped thousands of you guys out there to live this more beach, less laptop lifestyle. Let's get into the good shit.
Yo, it's Frankie Finn. Beach mode engaged. Looms loaded, AI's humming. Let's go!
So you guys may not know this, but the number one question I got asked over the last 7-8 years, they said, if you're me, you're starting over, you want to get to 10K a month as fast as humanly possible, what would you do? And I actually got asked this question between 500 and 1,000 times. I wasn't like keeping track, but I got literally asked the same question. You're me, you're starting over, what would you do? And so I decided to actually do the process, document it from start to finish. I went into a brand new niche, water damage restoration. I built an agency. By the way, it sounds like a big number if you're just starting out, but I actually only got 6 clients, right? So 15.6 thousand was exactly 6 clients. So it's not like a giant mountain of people. I think most of you guys out there, if you follow this process, you can get 6 people. That's all it really takes to hit those kind of numbers. And in doing so, I want to show you guys like a replicatable, if that's even a word, I don't know, a process you can replicate, something that you can do again to do that. But before we do, I want to tell you guys firstly what not to do. Let's just say, don't do this. Okay. So by far the single biggest mistake that people make is they start with the tool or the service, and then they create a product or service that should not exist in the first place. So you'll see lots of different flavors of this. So they'll say, I do web design, or I do SEO, or I got a GHL SaaS. And they'll start with the tools and they'll go, okay, I got the tools. How do I go make money? And what ends up happening is you create shit that already exists in the marketplace that nobody needs. And then clients look at you like this.
Prosecute him. Why you think you done it?
Okay, number 1, Your Honor. Just look at him.
He talks like a fag, too.
And B, we've got all this, evidence of how, this guy didn't even pay at the hospital. And I heard that he doesn't even have his tattoo. I know, and I'm all, you gotta be shitting me. But check this out, man. Judge should be like, guilty. Peace.
Right, so we can add all kinds of things in here in the tool to service: web design, SEO, GHL SaaS, Facebook ads, funnels, copywriting, email, Google ads. There's all kinds of different flavors of those. AI voice solutions, AI chatbots. You find out, hey, AI chatbots, and you go, how do I go make money doing AI chatbots? And what you're going to find is, if you start with the tool or the service, nobody wants it, because nobody woke up in the middle of a cold sweat and said, I really need some web design today. I really need some GHL SaaS. I really need a chatbot on my website, right? So that is an important step, your tool or service, but this is actually the 3rd step of the process. And if you skip the first 2 and you do them out of order, you're going to miss the actual gold. And so the first thing you got to start with, by the way, is your niche. You got to figure out, in essence, who are we actually doing this for? Okay? You have to get clarity about which type of client you actually want to do this. So when I did the 90-day challenge, the answer to that question was water damage restoration. Why did I pick water damage restoration? Well, because I literally fucking knew nothing about it. So Because I knew nothing about it, I was like, okay, I'm not starting with contacts. I don't have any information about them. I don't speak their terminology. I don't have any ads. I don't have anything that'll work. And so in my case, let's just call it restoration for short. But this is how happy I was knowing I was going to go crush it in the restoration industry.
我有几个球真的打得不错。
这个球飞到了是在左外野方向。This ball is long gone, just like the ex-girlfriend who will never return. Home run.
So this always makes me laugh because a lot of you guys treat picking a niche as if it's like picking a spouse, and it's really just like you want your messaging to say something. The more specific your messaging is, the easier it's going to be for you to get money. And also it makes your delivery and your fulfillment like more repeatable. And it also makes it clear where to go get people. But there's broke and rich people in every niche. So people hesitate thinking if they pick the wrong niche, they don't have any money. They're going to be broke. Every niche has broke and rich people. There's people doing money in every niche, or there wouldn't be a niche, right? So to me, this is a 48-hour decision. This is not a, if you're still 9 months in and you don't know what your niche is, you're being a pussy and you just need to pick one, okay? So the second thing is we want to do research on their problems, okay? Because we're going to build an actual solution to something that they're stuck on that does not exist in the marketplace. And when people skip this step, they just assume that every business wants more, and there's a lot of reasons why they don't look more, and so you just sound like this to them. Yeehaw, motherfuckers, come on down to Frankie Finn's More Emporium where we got more leads, we got more sales, we got more customers. You need more of something? We got you. Leads, sales, customers, clients, patients, we got it all. Just get more of it. Tell you why this actually matters, why you can't just be the More Emporium, okay? Because one of the things that they said in restoration is they said, one of our problems is we really want category 3 flood jobs. And the reason they said this is they said, most jobs we don't get paid on. Like the insurance companies is supposed to pay us in theory, but in reality we get fucked around. They take 6 months, they lowball us. And so we're always like floating out money and we're waiting almost half a year to get paid. And it's just like, it's really stressful. But on some of these jobs, category 3 residential flood jobs, we get paid pretty quickly. They're basically the highest paying jobs that we get paid usually within a week or two. And so we want these jobs because these are the ones where we can actually make money and not have to finance and those kind of things. So if I just show up and say, we'll get you more leads and more sales with my web design, my SEO, my Go High Level SaaS, if they're not even getting paid on half the jobs they get anyway, do you think they want more of them, right? Clearly not. So when I say I can get you the jobs you get paid on, suddenly, then it becomes infinitely more valuable, right? So it's only really in step 3 where you decide on your tools and services. And most people, by the way, start here. And the reason they start here is this is the part of your business that is about me. Me. And you should have a me section of your business. But first, it needs to be about who and why, right? Who are we doing this for? Why are they going to pay us in the first place? Well, because they got this unmet problem. They have all these jobs they're getting not paid on, and they really want the types of jobs they do get, right? And so then it is only then that you create the tool or the service, and the tool or the service is based on what actually solves the problem. So in our case, it was like it made sense to do SEO and pay-per-click because those were the things that brought them the kind of jobs they wanted the fastest, right? And so when we could bring them the kind of jobs that they wanted, then that all of a sudden makes our service like 1,000 times more desirable than if we just show up and say, I got a tool and we'll get you some undefined more, which is, by the way, 99% of agency offers are, we got a tool and it'll get you more. And it's not as appealing as most people think because a lot of times they don't get paid or they're small margins or they're high effort jobs or they're like a grind and they suck. So it's almost always about specific types of people that they want, right? What kind of jobs do they most want to get? What kind of clients do they most want to get? What kind of customers do they most want to get? And if you're not sure, by the way, you can ask. You can ask both ChatGPT and you can go in like a community and just say, what kind of jobs do you wish you had more of? What kind of patients do you wish you had more of? And they'll just tell you the kinds that they really wish they had. And I would suggest building a tool or a service that helps them to get that because it'll instantly be more appealing than if you're just in the we'll do more and sell you some tools. Because if you just sell tools, This is how they're going to end up treating you. By the way, by far, these two steps, which usually take like a day or two to figure out who you want to do this for and then research their problems, almost every agency skips. And so they just talk about their tools and they talk about how their tools will get you more. And they don't realize, like we did an event at Sam Carlson's most valuable MVP, I guess, event. And one of the things is we had an actual chiropractor in the room, and I said, can you just confirm what I'm saying? I said, can you confirm that a lot of the smaller ticket and lower ticket jobs that you get after you've paid for your staff and your overhead and your things, that not only would you not make money, but sometimes you would even lose money? And he said, absolutely. And I said, well, which ones would you want to get most of? I forget what his answer is. And I said, if an agency could actually help you get those kind of patients, would you pay money for it? Without batting an eye, of course. And he said, when they show up and just say more, how does that sound to you? And he said, it's like almost laughable because, why would I want a bunch of low-paying, coupon-clipping, patients in my office? I want the high-value, spinal decompression or whatever it was for him. So this is really, really important. So it's only when you have those things in place that you can begin your marketing process. And this is really what I'm describing to you guys is how you create an uncontested sub niche. And I want to be clear, like to hit these numbers, to add 16,000 people or 16 grand extra, it's 6 people. This is a fucking climbable mountain. I hate when gurus online say, oh, this is so easy, anyone can do it. Yeah, bullshit. Why would anyone have a job, right? If anybody could do it, but it's doable. It's hard, but it's not that hard, right? It's 6 people, right? And so marketing involves going and identifying the people, firstly, who actively spend money in your industry, right? We assume, because I do restoration, that any restoration contractor would make a good fit, but I actually really only want to talk to the ones who are actively spending money. And will continue to spend money, by the way. The biggest sign that they're willing to spend money into the future is they're spending money now, right? If I have to convince you to spend money, then I'm going to have to always convince you that you should want to grow your business, right? I would rather just talk to the ones who are, which, by the way, is only about 20% of them. And in some industries where it's a low barrier to entry, like real estate agents, it's only like 5% of them that actually spend money to grow. So you want to focus on the ones who are actively spending money, and then you want to go put stuff in front of them, right? So this can mean one-to-one messages, this can mean content, this can mean running ads, this can mean going to the networking meeting where the restoration contractors go. I actually got on a plane and went to an event and spoke at it in this particular niche, right? But I intentionally got in front of them and put my stuff in front of them. And this will work so much better because we actually have something they want, which, by the way, is only something I've heard about, talked about inside of our Wolfpack mastermind, which is kind of like this. So this is about having an uncontested sub-niche. And there's a video on this channel, by the way. I was talking with our man, Sam Carlson from UpHex. And Sam was talking about the fact that he went and he became a mortgage broker in 2006. He had a friend who was a real estate agent. He was working some dead-end job. He said, if you become a mortgage broker, I'll send you a bunch of deals. So he became a mortgage broker. And he was like, okay, I'm ready. Send me the deals. And the guy didn't. And so he went to the person who ran his office and said, so-and-so, how do I get deals? And they said, well, you got to go hang out with real estate agents. He went and met basically every real estate agent in town, and none of them sent any business. And he said he was sitting in an office flipping through a magazine, and he was looking, it was like a real estate magazine. He was looking at all the real estate agents who had rejected him. Oh, that person said, no, I bought lunch. And eventually he saw this woman, Christine something, and it said, we do only first-time homebuyers, government financing, and se habla español. And what he found out is that the government financing ones, the first-time homebuyers, it's more paperwork, so most mortgage brokers didn't like it, and they didn't try and get those ones. And again, it said se habla español, and Sam speaks Spanish, so he reached out to the lady and said, hey, I specialize in government financing, and I speak Spanish, so you won't have to do any translating. And the lady said, really? And she sent him 5 deals that day. And that was after like months and months of not getting a single client. The minute he was actually solving a real market need, right? There's always underserved sub niches. There's always underserved sub niches, right? So in her case, nobody did government financing and nobody spoke Spanish. And because he was the guy who was doing that, he eventually became El Gringo Prestamista, which is, the white guy mortgage broker. And he did all the first time home buyers, with of Spanish descent. And he crushed it until the mortgage crisis came. Then that's a whole other story. But every niche has those because every agency is just showing up and saying, we'll get more. They're not saying we'll get this specific type of person. And when you focus on a specific type of person that they desire most, your service will become infinitely valuable. And I promise you, there are versions of this that exist in every single niche. So you don't need to get all hung up and pick a niche. Just pick one. It don't really fucking matter. It's really about more who you would like to work with. Like, it's an ice cream flavor. What kind of ice cream flavor do you like? If you like chocolate, like for me, I don't really like working with skilled trades and things like that because I'm not a work with my hand type. I don't really understand them as much. And then we research their problems and come up with something they really want, something they really need, and we create a real solution, and then we build tools and services to actually fulfill on that, and then we go out and market it to them. You're going to get clients, just so you guys know. And it really, within 30 days, and I did that completely for free, and I did it for free on purpose because like most people starting out, it's not like you got big ad budgets. It's not like you can go just spend 20 grand on Facebook ads to go get clients. So for me, I'm like, I'll do only free stuff. And this is exactly what I did. So I hope this is really powerful. And for those of you guys who are starting out, get away from being here in the I got tools, who wants them. That's how you end up broke. Get into the who's the niche and what are the problem. And then what tools help them do that. You're going to find uncontested, underserved market sub niches, and you're gonna make a lot of money doing it. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe for the golden dad guns and the corny jokes and the cheesy intros. And that's all I got for you guys in this one. May the force be with you. Buy my book, or I will make it so your favorite website redirects to midget porn.